Hi everybody, it's Dr. Heather Backstrom, and I'm so happy to be here tonight at the Grammy Museum in downtown Los Angeles, where I'm a keynote speaker for the YWCA of Greater Los Angeles. Tonight, I will be sharing information about the topic of self-promotion and how self-promotion can be a struggle for many women. But I will also be talking about how there are strategies women can put into place so that self-promotion is easier. I'm really honored to be here tonight with the YWCA. They do great work and they do meaningful work, and I'm thrilled to be one of their keynote speakers. My career was great until it wasn't, right? My corporate job was no longer feeding my soul, it was suffocating it. And maybe you've had that kind of experience at some point during your career when it felt like your job was suffocating you. Well, as my job continued suffocating me, I started dreaming about what it would be like to be a self-employed executive coach. And just imagining myself as a coach made it feel like I could breathe again. So I went out and I got certified as a coach, I got a doctorate degree, and I created a website so I could start to attract a few clients, and between you and me, eventually leave behind that suffocating job. And then graduation day came around. It was a beautiful ceremony where I received my doctorate degree. The ceremony overlooked the vast Pacific Ocean and all those possibilities that ocean represented that were ahead for me. But you know what? A curious thing about all that is after all of that hard work of earning that degree and putting in all that effort, I didn't add doctor to my website, figure that, and actually it took an entire year before I did. This is a story about self-promotion, specifically my struggle with self-promotion. A lot of women grapple with the topic of self-promotion. And for some women, maybe some of you out here, just hearing those words, self-promotion, I mean, it can make your stomach get all queasy. For me, well, it kept me from claiming my doctorate degree. But it doesn't have to end there, because it's a journey. I don't struggle with self-promotion like I used to, and I continue improving and becoming more comfortable with it. And if you're on this journey too, I am right there with you. And in fact, we can see that a lot of people, and a lot of women specifically, struggle with self-promotion. Let's take a look at some data that shows us how challenging it can be for women to feel comfortable promoting themselves. According to the Self-Promotion Gap, which is a group of researchers, they tell us that there are activities women would rather do than talk about themselves. For instance, 43% of women find it more pleasant to clean the bathroom than to talk about themselves. Yes, no way, exactly. 43% of women would rather clean the bathroom than talk about themselves. And 47% of women find it more pleasant to run errands in the rain than to talk about themselves. And the last few days have been perfect for that, haven't they? You know, and while we laugh at those numbers, and yes, they're funny and we take them kind of lightly, at the same time, they're really sobering when you think about it. And here's another startling statistic. Nearly 70% of women would rather minimize their successes than talk about them. 70%. And you know what? If we were to take this room, if we were to take you as a representative sample, it would be probably about this many of you in the room would rather minimize yourself than talk about your successes and your achievements and all that you have to offer. But I want to reassure you that there's a way to feel comfortable with self-promotion so that you're not part of that 70% of women who shy away from it. And the key to that is, it is the power of reciprocity. Because when you are in a relationship that is reciprocal, you have a partner by your side. You have someone by your side who is cheering you on and supporting you and encouraging you forward. So reciprocity, or a reciprocal relationship, that's the key to feeling comfortable with self-promotion. So a reciprocity partner is somebody who can champion you. And they can champion you in lots of different ways. They can help you speak confidently about all of your tremendous accomplishments. They can encourage you to pursue those opportunities that are out there for you. And they can motivate you to use your strengths every single day. And in turn, you can do the very same for your own reciprocity partner. So I wanted to make this practical tonight, right here, right now. I invite you to think about who could be your reciprocity partner. Think about the circles of people that you already run in. Think about colleagues, peers, coworkers, friends, community members, people right here in this room. Other people who you know through the YWCA. Who's coming to your mind who could be your reciprocity partner? Is a name, a face coming to your mind? Give me some heads, some nodding of the heads. If you're thinking about somebody who could be your, I see heads nodding, great. Who could be your reciprocity partner? Well, now that you have that person in mind, it's time to make a commitment. Make a commitment to yourself that you will talk to that person about being reciprocity partners. And if that person is in this very room, then make sure you talk to them tonight before you leave the event. So now that you have a reciprocity partner in mind, let's talk about how the two of you can work together. There's 3 different strategies that you can use to boost your comfort level with self-promotion. The first strategy is to reframe your language. Now, if you happen to be one of those individuals who hear the word self-promotion and it makes your stomach all queasy and your heart race, then reframe your language. Don't even call it self-promotion. Call it something completely different. Perhaps call it credibility building, or clear communication, or authentic advocacy. Better than, you like that one? Exactly, authentic advocacy, love it. And better than any of those ideas, you and your reciprocity partner can come up with terms yourself that resonate with you and that make you feel comfortable when it comes to self-promotion. So that's your first strategy, is to reframe your language. Let's take a look at the second strategy. The second strategy to raise your self-promotion comfort level is actually to raise your visibility. Because when you raise your visibility, you're noticed by a lot more people. So let's talk about how you can raise your visibility in meetings. Because let's be honest, right? Let's be honest, we all spend a lot of time in meetings. Is there anybody here who does not spend much time in meetings? Okay, I'm not seeing anybody raise their hand. So we're going to capitalize on this opportunity where in meetings you can raise your visibility. When it comes to in-person meetings, you and your reciprocity partner can encourage each other to always sit in a prominent place in a meeting. So rather than sitting in a chair that's at the perimeter of the room, you know, those chairs that line the wall, sit at the conference room table. And better than that, sit near the head of the table. And then, if you want to move it up even a bigger notch than that, sit next to the person leading the meeting. When you strategically choose a place to sit in a meeting that is of prominence, it raises your visibility. Now, we also have to talk about virtual meetings because that is the way work gets done, and it is going to continue being the way work gets done. When it comes to virtual meetings, you and your reciprocity partner can encourage each other, or maybe challenge each other, to always have your camera on and to have it positioned in such a way so that it frames your face nicely. When you sit in a prominent place during an in-person meeting, and when you always have your camera on during virtual meetings, you have raised your visibility and engaged in a self-promotion strategy. So now we'll talk about our third self-promotion strategy, and that is to speak up. And again, we're going to talk about meetings, speaking up in meetings. So you and your reciprocity partner can challenge each other to always speak up in every meeting you attend. Now, I will tell you, sometimes a client will say to me, but Heather, if I don't have an idea or a suggestion to make, I don't want to speak up in a meeting just for the sake of speaking up. And I tell you, I completely agree with that sentiment. When you speak up in a meeting, it should be about adding value to the meeting and not just empty air. So let me offer up some ideas of how you can speak up, even if you don't happen to have an idea or an opinion to share. You can ask a clarifying question. Because when you ask a clarifying question, not only do you better understand the topic at hand, but everybody else in the room does too. You can also summarize what's been said. When you summarize what's been said, you help to make sure that there is mutual understanding and alignment around the content of the meeting. And then another way that you can speak up during a meeting is to ask about or to confirm the next steps. That way, when people leave the meeting, they know what the next steps are and exactly what's going to happen following the meeting. So those are your 3 self-promotion strategies: to reframe your language, raise your visibility, and to always speak up. Remember when I told you earlier about graduation and how I looked out at the vast Pacific Ocean? I noticed all of its beauty and strength. Tonight, I have the privilege of looking out at all of you. And I tell you, that same beauty and strength is in each and every one of you. The ocean is a mighty force. Just imagine what a mighty force you will be when you team up with another person and become reciprocity partners. Through reciprocity, you can rewrite the narrative of what self-promotion is all about and confidently step into your own ocean of possibilities. Are you ready? Let's step forward together. Thank you. Thank you.
My name is Kate. I'm the development manager with YWCA Greater Los Angeles, and we had Heather speak at our YHER event. It's an inaugural women's empowerment event that we had this afternoon, and she really got the crowd engaged. She had everybody really believing in themselves and giving them practical tips that they could use to take with them, whether it's in a boardroom, whether it's in a meeting, and it's really just sort of that nuts and bolts advice that is just really powerful. It got the crowd thinking.